Chapter 13. Transformation to Christ Consciousness. Recently, I had another session with Mary, my friend and spiritual healer. It seemed fitting to visit her as I was concluding the book, since a visit to her was my impetus for writing it. Seeing her was like getting an infusion of the Christ light. The guidance through Mary reminded me that everything in my life has come through my consciousness. Everything is a result of thoughts I have had. My thoughts broadcast out of me, collect like energy, and reflect back into my life. So I must own everything I have created and realize there is no appearance I cannot change. I was encouraged to observe my mind in action, to allow no thought to come unsolicited, and to not engage with thoughts that are not of divine investment. It was suggested I say, "Peace, be still, and know that I am God," and that throughout the day I should remind myself of the truth of what is real, saying, "I am divinely creative consciousness." Try this for yourself and see what happens. The separation from my son, and now former husband, that I described in the beginning of the book has eased greatly in many ways. It feels unified and healed. We have been able to keep many of the good parts of what we had as a family and evolve the rest. A wholeness has returned, which feels right. We spend some weekdays together and many vacations. My son is with me on the weekends, which gives my former husband time alone too. The emotional patterns that kept me in a jail of my own making have been broken apart, and our time together is much more harmonious. In seeing all as one, and by aligning and realigning with my spirit's purpose, not my ego's, a miracle is occurring in my life, and I am deeply grateful. New levels of seeing the perfection in the process of life grace my days. The transformation to Christ consciousness is a process during which I'm either in Christ consciousness or human consciousness, one or the other. Straddling doesn't work. Embodying the Christ is a choice I need to remake in every moment. Certain ongoing practices help me to be conscious enough to move in that direction. Being in the present moment, daily meditation, doing the seeing all as one exercise, checking in with my guidance regularly, and having a group of like-minded people to share the path with. There are days where everything flows beautifully, and there are days where I wish the job of moving beyond my ego's patterns was easier. Many times I have pleaded, "Just take me now. I cannot stand myself anymore." As of yet, no chariots have swung down out of the sky to carry me home. I now realize that the pleading can only come from the separate self. But I still wonder, can I be the second coming myself? Or must transformation to Christ consciousness come in God's timing and not by my will? Jesus, is transformation within our power? Or must it come from an external stimulus?
Transformation is when the delineation between oneself and the world shatters. This means that the definition of who one is completely changes. The transformation, that is the difference between knowing the self as the isolated individual and knowing the self as the energy of all that is incarnate. The challenge is to translate that knowing, that transformed self, into its fullest expression, translating, if you will, the unification of all that is as the one into the life of the individual. This is the challenge and the joy of life.
So life's joy is figuring out what translating Christ into my life means, and then taking action to give it its fullest expression, which may put me outside of my comfort zone. Change versus transformation. It's worth looking at the difference between change and transformation. Think of a napkin and all the ways you can fold it. That's change. Light it on fire. That's transformation. Change is self-improvement. It's easy to initiate and sometimes hard to maintain, as any dieter will attest. Being good at change helps you sit loosely in the saddle of life, a good skill in preparing for transformation. Transformation is when nothing of the old remains. We are not who we were before. Opening to Christ consciousness transforms us to being so much more. On the road to transformation, we can state our intention, set our compass, practice seeing and loving all as one from the perspective of our highest selves, and surrender to what is. In transcribing the channel, I realized that Jesus didn't really answer the question, is transformation within our power? So I asked for clarification on how transformation occurs and the role of divine grace. When Jesus mentions a life stream, he means a human life.
Dear one, we are grateful for your inquiry. Is it possible to enact this sometimes chaotic reorganization of a life stream for oneself? There is never one way to do things on this earth. The beauty of this work of human life is its variety, and the fact that no two people think or enact the process of life in the same way. So the answer is really yes and no. Depends. Does that help?
Yes and no. So the action of grace is sometimes the impetus and sometimes not?
Yes, you could say that. For how would you define grace? Couldn't an event of great difficulty, such as the burning down of one's home, be determined grace? The resulting outpouring of love and generosity from a community might precipitate transformation in a being. So the community could see the unified response of a single organism in action and thus be transformed itself. Or would you limit grace to divine acts of mystery? Would you limit grace to when an individual finds a peeling back of her perception to include only the true essence of who she really is? And this exposure of truth comes from an inner willingness that no real event in life made occur. What if a life stream's vision of a new world precipitated a shedding of the old ways that she had clung to, and a full embracing of the possibility of living in a completely different outer world? Couldn't this too be termed transformation? So in truth there is only one, got you here, and there is no outer that transforms the inner, or vice versa.
You make me smile with that one. I'd fallen for my own argument. My vision had dropped into the separated version of me. Thank you. So really you could say that transformation is occurring all around us all the time, that what nature is doing at the end of the growing season, withdrawing life energy into the bulbs in the ground and the green tops dying back, is transformation, a regular rhythm of the earth. The growth of children, too, could be one transformation after the next. The letting go of one stage and allowing something else. I'm getting excited about this one. If we would let the true miracle that life is moving through us without fear or clinging, we would be transforming all the time. Is that right?
Yes, you could say that. Transformation is an organic process in your world. The true vision for transformation to Christ consciousness, the dynamite explosion that catapults one to see through the eyes of unity consciousness, is never limited by anything that is not of the human being's making. Transformation is. period. It is waiting outside your door, wanting to sweep you up and carry you into a life that is so much more. It is only those human attributes I mentioned that limit its expression in your life.
Thank you. That makes it quite clear. I see a gorilla sitting outside the door, ready to come in.
Oh, I like that picture. But it is not a gorilla to fear. It is a gorilla to play with. But at the gorilla's level of play, with strength and extreme unlimited potential. Do you see the distinction?
Yes, I think so. A powerful force would sweep us into action and ways of being that have great power within them, but only if we allow the force in.
Yes.
The gorilla of transformation. So I sit here and sip my tea. It's 5:30 in the morning. The wind is howling outside, and I wonder, what would I have to let go of to let the gorilla into my life to play? Perhaps you might like to make a cup of tea for yourself and ponder this question too. The path is changing. The beauty of the times we are now in is that there are so many of us undergoing transformation by fire, divorce, financial ruin, job loss, sickness, environmental catastrophe. Life's difficulties are our spirit's opportunities, because they initiate a process that forces us to look beyond the physical world alone. We begin seeking greater meaning and spiritual connection in our lives. We are all being called to the path of transformation. Admittedly, some are being called to the path louder than others. But the beauty of this mass impulse is that the path is now a road, maybe even a highway, with monasteries, vegan restaurants, yoga studios, retreat centers, meditation groups, internet classes, ashrams, gurus, teachers, and guidebooks along the way. No longer must we surrender everything to answer this call to the One. We may now embrace our spiritual selves and weave their depth into the fabric of our everyday lives. The traditional path of spiritual attainment through ascetic or monastic life in remote locations is no longer necessary. We are being asked to be in the world and to bring what was available in the monastery or the cave into our existing lives. We carry the quiet connection within us as we actively engage in life. The earth is changing. The earth herself, our outer body, is also going through transformation now. Whether or not we are the cause of it, we face greater variability and extremes in weather, thinning of the ozone layer, global warming, earthquakes, tsunamis, solar flares, and other monumental disturbances of nature. Add to that social unrest and instability in governments, financial institutions, monetary systems, transportation networks, food production, and energy and water supplies, and we see a very insecure future. The interconnectedness of the Earth's natural systems and systems that support human populations renders our position vulnerable at this time. We are all one, and the world, as portrayed on the front page of the newspaper, sometimes looks like it's a house of cards propped up with bamboo poles, and a stiff wind is on the way. Chaos can be a necessary state between levels of organization. As chaos envelops our world, a tremendous opportunity awaits our every choice. Our choices will determine whether the earth moves towards greater unity or falls apart. The world is calling for our loving engagement and beckoning us to make our choices based on knowing we are all one.
A higher possibility is held out for us now. We have the vision beneath us of a world transformed, a world in unity, love, and alignment with divine law and natural law. There is no holding man back from a rebirth of magnificent proportions. Not only is this what is needed for our blessed earth to recover her own health, but also the human species, back from the precipice of annihilation by our own hand, may too find rebirth and a hopeful future. Not knowing what might come next in the world outside of ourselves, our only choice is to look within, to find a star by which to guide our ship. The transformation of the earth will come one being at a time, and you, dear reader, are being asked to step forward to make this happen. May your way be clear, your resolve strong, and your strength paramount as the journey unfolds.
Journey's End. Well, I had hoped that by the time we arrived at the end of this guidebook together, I would be able to walk on water and practice bilocation. But not yet. I do have moments of seeing all as one, when the energy of the Christ self shines into my doing and being. The creative, expansive, unlimited, and unfettered self gets to come out and play a bit more. I am seeing how I can choose to look through Christ's eyes, and what I have discovered is that it leaves the perspective of the little me in the dust. It's like inhabiting a brand new world. What I see is the same, but the meaning I make from it is different in the most profound way. I am surrounded by consciousness in its many expressions and forms, and we all meet as equals on this stage of earth. The moments I embody the Christ within are those moments when I am surrendered, present, and humble enough to be available to something greater than myself. And it really boils down to my choosing what I will focus on in this moment, separation or unity. As the moments that are mine to choose increase, very slowly a Christ is freed. As more of us find our way to the Christ within, the world around us will have to change to reflect the higher order of unity consciousness. Imagine what kind of a world we will create from this place. The Dragons of Separation. A future storybook will begin. The world in crisis was created from a human population that was blind to the divine light present within them. As humans awakened to the divinity within themselves, their inner human landscapes were revealed, with their very real maze of tunnels filled with memories, ideas, dreams, and misunderstandings about the world. The tunnels were guarded by the dragons of the illusion of separation. By courageously exploring their own inner landscapes and one by one taming the dragons, they discovered hidden within themselves their own divine nature, trapped and waiting to be set free. Joining forces with their powerful and newly freed divine nature, they looked outward to the earth, knowing that they were all that they saw, and that changed everything. As we arrive at the guidebook's destination, I ask Jesus if he would paint a picture of this new world for us.
Yes, of course, my dear. The world that you can imagine is a bold and bright place of extreme joy and understanding, or extreme opportunity and delight. When the Christ is present in the eyes, ears, hands, and feet of those lucky humans who walk the earth, the world becomes a benevolent place, a place of joyful interacting, clarity, and exuberant creative energy. When this occurs, life will be changed, for all life on earth and the earth herself will heal, and the land will be reborn anew. My hope is that a conglomeration of those people willing to embody this level of the divinity within will gather and create what might not have been even thought of before. In this vein, anything is possible, and all paths are of the Christ. Go in peace, for only the land will hold you in her beautiful stillness that will bring you to new possibilities of an earth reborn and brand new. Namaste. We are one.
Here we have reached the guidebook's destination. Now is your opportunity to explore the landscape that lies within you and before you. With the Christ present in your eyes, ears, hands, and feet, life will be changed for all life on earth, and the earth herself will heal.
Thank you for your presence here with me until now. It has been a journey into the mind of a Christ. Perhaps you may see yourself in this role. Perhaps it is not yet for you. Either way is fine. What is most important and what you will find is a sense of empowerment in the journey of your life. Seeing how you can direct your journey and make it more of what you had in mind when you came. Perhaps this sense of creative energy will hold you up through difficult times when you remember, oh yes, I can make a difference here for myself simply by focusing on what I do want. This will be enough for most as they walk through the pages of time. This is a fine and precious gift. For those who would wish for more, there is treasure here beyond imagining, not to be cast aside, but to be read and reread, for there are levels of understanding that can be gleaned upon a second and third reading of this work. Try not to be discouraged as the life patterns creep in and still exist over and over. Simply hold yourself as the Christ that you are when you remember to, and your way will be empowered. The light of God will shine down upon the path you tread, and your way will be clear. Namaste. We are one.